We want to welcome you to the Speech Language Pathology Assistant Program at Mitchell Technical Institute for the fall of 2015. This is just going to be a brief introduction to the program itself, and we'll provide you with some information about some things that you're going to encounter as you're a student in this program. First, a little bit about Mitchell Technical Institute itself. The mission at MTI is to provide skills for success in technical careers. Currently, there are 30 on-campus programs at Mitchell Tech and 7 online programs. A few of the awards that Mitchell Tech has won in the last number of years include the Aspen Institute of the top 150 of America's two-year colleges, and Mitchell Tech has received that for 3 years in a row. Mitchell Tech was also voted #1 in online associate degree programs by bestcolleges.com, and also this year won the Career Preparedness Award from ACT. Now we're going to introduce you to some of the faculty and staff that you're going to encounter as a student at Mitchell Tech. First of all, I'll introduce some of the SLPA program faculty. I am Bobby Brink, and I am one of the online instructors. The other online instructor that you'll meet in a few minutes is Jennifer Schultz. And then the department head that you may or may not have a lot to do with in the online SLPA program is Deb Flynn. Some of the other personnel that you should be aware of: Mark Wilson is the president of Mitchell Tech, and Vicki Weiss is the vice president for academic affairs. Those of you that are familiar with how schools work, we kind of refer to Mr. Wilson as the superintendent and Mrs. Weiss as the principal, if that helps you to figure out what they do a little bit more. And then Carol Grody-Hanks is the director for the online programs. Some of the other people whose names I'm sure you'll see throughout your time as an online SLPA student are John Heemstra. John is our outreach coordinator and grant administrator. Deanna Hatch also works with the Technical Education at a Distance, or TED grant, and she is the administrator for that. A person that I'm sure you'll encounter her name many times is Janet Greenway. Janet is the registrar. And then kind of one of our right-hand people is Andy Erickson, and he provides technical support.
We're going to go into a little more information about the online SLPA program and how it works. My name is Jennifer Schultz, and as you just saw, I am one of the instructors for the online program. So through your application process to the program, you may have heard about the TED grant, and TED stands for Technical Education at a Distance. We are currently in our 3rd year of this grant that was provided by the U.S. Department of Labor, and the funding that we have through the Department of Labor grant has provided a number of enhancements for this program. So rather than just doing all of your coursework completely online through the computer, we provide other learning opportunities, including labs that you will attend. We have equipment at those labs that was provided through this grant. South Dakota students will be issued iPads with apps on them that are specific to the work of speech-language pathology assistants. We have computerized simulations that you will be playing and experiencing later on in your program, and other web-based tools that we will be using, such as VoiceThread. Finally, we have a credentialing program that you'll hear more about later on in this presentation. In addition to the enhancements that the TED grant provides, we also then need to study the success of the program and the grants, and so we will be asking you to participate in surveys throughout the program so that we understand the students' perspective of the enhancements that are provided through TED. I also wanted to draw your attention to the fact that this program that you are now enrolled in, the TED SLPA program, recently received a Toolkit of the Year award. You will be interacting with all of your coursework through our learning management system, which we refer to as MyMTI. When you land on the Mitchell Tech web page, up at the top of the page, you will see a link to MyMTI. And when you log in with your email address and your password, you will be able to access all of your course content, and you will be able to find information such as your GPA and financial information related to your program. It's very important that you know how to get help when you encounter technical glitches, so we encourage you to be familiar with the technology tab in MyMTI. Anytime you have issues with technology, you should submit a help desk ticket through this tab to get assistance. And also we want you to know that anytime you have issues with technology that might cause you to miss an assignment or get kicked out of an assignment while you're trying to complete it, you should notify the instructor for that course immediately. Advising is an important part of your program, and we provide an advisor for you for the first and second years of your program. So Bobby Brink will be advising all first-year students who live in the state of South Dakota. I will advise all in-state second-year students and all out-of-state students as well. You will have at least 3 meetings per semester with your advisor, and we will address things like your progress in the program and course requirements. We'll assist you to register for the future semesters and answer any questions and address concerns that you might have. Of course, you can meet with your advisor anytime that you need to, and faculty members might also request that you meet with your advisor. The academic requirements for the program can be found in our course schedules and catalogs on the MTI website, and you'll have a link to that in some of your other coursework in MyMTI. So the general catalog will list program requirements and describes courses. The student handbook provides you with information about rules and policies that are in place at Mitchell Technical Institute. It's very important that you're familiar with the handbook, so if you can, please bookmark that for future reference. In your SLPA program, you will be required to earn a C or better in all SLPA courses in order for you to enroll in higher level SLPA courses. So make sure that you're keeping track of your grades and you're always maintaining a C or better in all of those SLPA courses. In addition to that, you need to have a GPA above 2.0 to continue into the program, and to graduate. You'll hear a lot about academic integrity in this program. It's very important that you're familiarizing yourself with the concept of academic integrity, that you're aware of plagiarism, how plagiarism occurs, and how plagiarism is detected. Also, I want you to kind of be aware of the time constraints or the time requirements for this program. Of course, it's going to vary depending on how familiar you are with online technology and learning and how comfortable you are coming back to school. You should plan to spend anywhere from 9 to 12 hours per week in coursework for each 3-credit course. So if you're enrolled as a full-time student, you really will be spending full time in your coursework. We also have another new center for you to access if you're feeling like you need some additional assistance in your program. The Center for Student Success is housed on campus at MTI in the Campus Center building. However, all of its services are available to you as an online student. We have tutoring services, there's research information that's available at the Student Success Center. Disability services for people who have any diagnosed disability are available there. And on campus, you have access to computers and printing. If you live near MTI, you do have printing available to you on campus, so we'd encourage you to come in and utilize those services. In addition to your academic advisor, the student success coaches in the Center for Student Success are available for additional advising. Sometimes students may have questions that are outside of just their general academic program, and so we have other people available to assist you with that. These are our student success coaches for the upcoming year: Sarah Duff, Matea Berg, and George Landau. The SLPA program is really designed to be completed over 2 years. However, there is an option to complete the program over 3 years. If you think that you might need to go to the 3-year option, you should contact your academic advisor immediately to make that change. Keep in mind that your SLPA coursework is offered in fall semesters and spring semesters. General education courses are offered at a variety of times, but none of the SLPA courses are offered during the summer semester. Another important component of your education will be your fieldwork placement. This fieldwork placement is going to take place in the second half of your last semester in the program. Be aware that you need to be able to spend 8 weeks working full-time in a setting where speech-language pathology services are provided, and many times that's in a school setting. So you'll need to be able to set aside those 8 weeks to work a typical, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 type of job to complete your fieldwork requirement. If you have questions about your specific course needs, you can find your advising worksheet in My MTI under the Student tab. Coursework is set up in the program so that one course is due each day of the week. This helps to spread out your work across the week so that you're not bogged down with assignments in multiple courses being due on one day of the week. We've also set it up so that in general, courses with lower numbers are due at the beginning of the week and higher numbers are due toward the end of the week. You might want to jot down those dates and the course numbers so that you can help keep track of when your assignments are due. Test due dates oftentimes are different from your assignment and discussion due dates. So if a unit ends on Monday, then the test might open on that day and be due on Wednesday or Thursday of that same week. Also, if you have a course where discussion forums are used, you might have multiple due dates. There may be a due date, say on Thursday, for an initial post to a conversation prompt, and then your responses to your course mates might be due on on Monday. On My MTI, when you land on the home page, you will see an events calendar. This is where important dates that are relevant to all students and faculty at MTI are posted. The first one that you need to be aware of is the 10-day count. This is the date that is the last day you can drop a class and receive a full refund for the tuition for that course. This year that is September 8th, 2015. Later on in the semester, you'll hear about the last date to withdraw from a course and receive a W, and while we hope nobody needs to use that option, make sure you keep your eyes open for that. Also, you'll see that holidays are posted in the events calendar. However, because we work in typically weekly units, we don't change coursework due dates for holidays. So if you have a class with coursework due on Thursday and Labor Day is on that day, on Thursday, I don't know why I picked Thursday, on Monday, and Labor Day is on Monday, you will still have coursework due on that day.
One of the major components of the online SLPA program is the regional labs. This is where you as a student will meet with other SLPA students, other online SLPA students, to be able to observe and to participate in those hands-on activities that are going to relate to your coursework and to your future career as a speech-language pathology assistant. In the state of South Dakota, there will, at this time anyway, be 5 regional lab locations throughout the state, and those are in Aberdeen with Beth Pashong as the lab instructor, in Chamberlain with Jamie Griffith as the lab instructor, Rapid City will have Penny Walker as the lab instructor, in Oglala, Lakota County, Donnell Hawkes will be the lab instructor, And in Sioux Falls, Carrie Gosmeyer will be the lab instructor. Each of these regional lab instructors is ASHA certified and South Dakota certified in speech-language pathology. Now those lab locations, as a student, you will be assigned to one of those lab locations based on your geographic area. But keep in mind that those are subject to change based on program enrollment and where students are located. If you are a student outside of the state of South Dakota, you will have a cooperating SLP in your area that you'll meet with individually to do the same things that the students in South Dakota are doing in those regional labs. As far as lab requirements, you will be required to attend those regional labs, generally on a Saturday, for those of you that are in South Dakota, 3 times per semester. The lab instructors will be contacting you to set up those dates and kind of collaborate on which dates work best for students. But again, plan on 3 times per semester, generally on Saturdays. If you as a student have to be absent from one of the on one of the lab dates from one of your labs, you must notify both the lab instructor and your course instructors of your absence. And then you will be required to attend that same lab in an alternate location. So for example, if you are missing Lab 1 in Rapid City, then you have the opportunity to attend Lab 1 in Chamberlain. If for any reason a lab is completely missed, then it will be up to the discretion of the course instructors whether that lab can be made up. As far as the courses with lab requirements, if you are enrolled in SLPA 101 in the fall semester and 111 in the spring semester, you will be participating in the labs and you will receive participation grades. Where you will be asked to demonstrate competency are in the courses that are listed there: SLPA 120, 200, 220, 230, 210, 211, and 235. Mentoring is also one of the aspects of the online TED SLPA program. You'll have the opportunity to meet with a mentor to support and to assist you with those skills and information that will help you to be a successful online student. Generally, those mentors are in the education profession and definitely in your geographic area. We do ask that you give your input as to someone that you feel would be a good mentor for you. And really, as the student, you drive that mentoring relationship. If you need something, you need to communicate that with your mentor. If you need assistance with being a successful online student, you drive that relationship by communicating those needs to your mentor. The SLPA program at MTI offers students what is called stacked credentials. These credentials are available for you to earn while you're a student in the SLPA program. And those credentials are listed here. The Department of Labor National Career Readiness Certificate is one of them. And the other one is the South Dakota Paraprofessional Certificate, or sometimes referred to as the Parapro. Mitchell Tech does assist with the scheduling of these exams and pays for those exam fees while you're in the SLPA program as a student. You'll be getting more information about these later in this fall semester and how you can access that credentialing program. Some of the technology that you'll encounter in the SLPA program, we're going to go through some of that now. One thing I do want to point you to is the online student manual, and specifically page 7, where it talks about the computer requirements or the technology specifications that you'll need. One thing as an online student that's really important is to have reliable, high-speed internet. Your courses are being delivered online, your coursework is submitted online. That high-speed internet and reliable high-speed internet is very important. I also encourage you to have a backup plan. We know that sometimes internet is not always reliable 100% of the time, so have a plan B set. You'll also need a webcam whether that's integrated into your computer or a separate one. You'll be have access to the Microsoft Office Professional Plus as a free download. We do recommend Chrome as your internet browser. Things just seem to work better in MyMTI and a lot of the computer-based programs that we use if you're using Chrome as your browser. Again, as Jennifer mentioned earlier, there will be an iPad provided to the students in South Dakota by MTI that is already preloaded with apps. And then just also keep in mind, as far as your laptop, that Mitchell Tech IT does not provide support for Mac computers. The iPads, again, let's talk a little bit more about those. An iPad is required for the SLPA program, and as we've said before, is provided to students in South Dakota. Those iPads that are provided to South Dakota students do have apps preloaded on them, but you can also download any free apps to those MTI iPads. You'll be getting more information about this later, but before those iPads are sent out, you will need to sign and send in an agreement. And then after that is received, and after that 10-day count that Jennifer mentioned earlier, those iPads will be sent out to students in South Dakota. One of the big programs that you will be encountering in the SLPA program is one called VoiceThread. This is a program where all of your lectures will be delivered. This is your class. This is more or less your classroom. This is where you'll get the information, you'll participate in discussions, you may have some assignments within the VoiceThread itself. You can access the VoiceThread website and those lectures in MyMTI in the courses where that's required. You'll find that in the coursework tab, and so you'll be able to access those voice threads for those lecture formats. There is a video in SLPA 101 in resources called What is a Voice Thread, and I really strongly recommend you go and view that as soon as possible. And just keep in mind that participation in the discussions in VoiceThread is graded in some SLPA courses, and the course instructor will notify you which courses those are, and you'll be able to see that in your coursework tab as well if there's a grade for participation. Teleconferencing is also something that is an important part of the SLPA program. The format that we'll be using for teleconferencing is called Skype for Business, and it is part of Microsoft Office 2013. Again, that's something that you'll be able to download from the Technology tab in MyMTI, and that is free to students. And so we'll be using Skype for Business for your advising meetings, to meet with tutors if that's something that you are taking advantage of, as well as those tutoring services, and then as you're practicing teletherapy later in your program. Part of that Microsoft Office 2013 will also be Outlook that you'll be using for your email. These next technology aspects of the program I'm just going to mention briefly because you'll be getting much more information about them as they come up in your coursework. But I do want to at least mention them to you so you're a little bit more familiar with them. The first one is speechpathology.com and Simucase. This is a web-based technology tool that the subscriptions are paid for by MTI. You'll be provided with the login information by your instructors as those pieces of coursework that you'll be utilizing this for come up. Speechpathology.com itself is where you'll be able to get in on webinars that are pre-recorded and are used in some coursework. And then Simucase is part of that where there are simulated clients that you'll be able to work with and provide therapy and screening for these simulated clients, and those are primarily used in the second year or the 200 level SLPA coursework. Trajexis is also a technology tool that you will be utilizing as a student. The subscription again is paid for by MTI. You'll be provided more instructions with that coming up in your SLPA 101 course. This program is one that is used to track lab participation, where competency demonstrations within lab will be graded, and then you'll be utilizing it quite a bit when you do your observations and your field work throughout the SLPA program. TheraSimplicity is a program, or excuse me, is a website where you are able to access, create, and utilize online speech and language materials. It's free access for students in the SLPA program. You will be utilizing the materials that you create for some assignments. You'll have to watch the training video, and then you'll be provided with login information, again, after that 10-day count. Master Clinician Network is a web-based program where there are therapy sessions with speech-language pathologists where they're providing therapy sessions that you'll be able to watch those videos of those. Again, membership is paid for by MTI, and you'll again be provided that login information at a later date. And then another one is called turnitin.com. This is, again, as Jennifer mentioned, you'll be hearing a lot about academic integrity and plagiarism, and this is a program or a website where instructors may require you to upload papers where we can check for originality. You can check for originality based on what you've written, and then papers can be graded right on there as well. One of the big things that you'll need to keep track of with all of these websites and technology things is your login information and your passwords. Really strongly recommend that you keep all of those login names and passwords in one place. An example of a good place to keep that is right in that online student manual. There are some blank pages at the back where you can write down those login names and passwords for those different sites.
We want to finish up with some advice from people who have been in your shoes and have successfully completed the SLPA program. So all of this information comes from people at the end of their program. Finding a quiet place for you to complete your coursework at home is very important. So if there's a room or a corner of the room where you can keep all of your school tools, your textbooks and your computer, and kind of shield yourself from the action and noise in your home, that's going to help you to focus more on your coursework. During your coursework, you'll be creating lesson plans and activities, and one of our students wanted to remind you guys to make sure that you keep all of those materials that you create, because you're going to want them when you go into your fieldwork and your career. Our students also wanted you to know that it is hard work to be an online student, and the SLPA program is rigorous, so you need to be prepared to work hard. This is not a program where you can log in once a week, respond to a discussion post, read a chapter, take a quiz, and be done. You will be doing hands-on work. Because it's a rigorous program and we want you to be successful, we are here for you to help you. And the students want to remind you that you need to communicate with your instructors. Because we don't see you in a classroom every day, we're not going to know if you're struggling unless you tell us. And back to that academic integrity piece, students who have been there before want to remind you that you need to write like a college student and to cite your sources. Some more advice, make sure you're organized and you stay ahead of your assignments. Assignments are typically open for a week. Longer assignments might be open for 2 or 3 weeks. That means that you don't want to start an assignment the day it's due or the day before it's due. You need to look at your assignments as soon as they open so that you know what's expected and you can put together a timeline to complete them successfully. You also want to utilize your course mates as resources, so make sure that you're making connections with the other people in your courses, you're talking to them and working together with them. Like we talked about before, if you're registered as a full-time student, you need to be prepared to, in some cases, do full-time work. Another student wanted us to remind people that your first year classes need to be taken seriously because they are the foundation for those second year courses and your fieldwork. If you skip over some of the information in the first year, that will make the second year more difficult. Support each other, use all of those resources that we provide to you, and make sure you never give up on your college education. We've mentioned that online student manual. That was sent to each student along with your registration materials. If you didn't get that, contact me, Jennifer Schultz, and I can email you an online version of that, or maybe you've misplaced it. Just let me know. There's also a specific manual for students in the SLPA program, and that's located in the resources for SLPA 101. And as I mentioned before, the MTI General Catalog and Student Handbook are there for your reference as well. So that's it. That's your introduction to the online SLPA program. Bobby and I are both looking forward to meeting all of you soon and having a fantastic year learning with you.